interruption. Thank you so much for listening to Fermented Adventure, the podcast. Could you do us a favor? Hit that follow button. It makes it easier for others to find us, and it helps us climb in the rankings. Take a screenshot of the podcast, post it, tag us, and let everyone know that you listen to the Fermented Adventure podcast. Now, back to our podcast. What's happening, Delco? I'm Rich Shane, and welcome to the What's Happening Delco podcast. Today, I'm joined by Dane Czaplicki of Members Wealth. Dane, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Rich.
Dane, what do you do?
Well, I guess simply, we help families and businesses achieve their dreams. Dreams cost money, and we work with them to make sure the money's there so they can do what they want to do with their lives.
Obviously, we all have dreams, and we all want to make sure the money is there. What else? I mean, how do you help people achieve that?
Yeah, it really comes down to a discovery process, right? If it's a family, it's getting the husband and wife together, getting them on the same page, answering them or asking them a ton of questions. You know, what are their goals? What are their values? What are their visions? What do they want, right? Getting that plan written down. I think a lot of us know that the most successful accomplishments or people write down their plan, right? They write down their goals, and then they put the steps in place to accomplish it. What we do is not rocket science. Most people with an ordinary knowledge level or an ordinary IQ could go about and figure out what we do and do it. But what we do is we generally work with really hardworking, driven individuals, families, businesses, help them get this plan written down, and then we help them execute and implement it. And we keep it fresh. We meet with them regularly. We drive it forward. We evolve it as things change over the course of their lifetimes. So it's not hard. It just has to be done regularly. And what we find is our families love that financial organization we bring to them. And ultimately, the success is shown in our results. Yeah.
Dane, how did Members Wealth get started?
Yeah, so I have been in wealth management for 20 plus years. And about 20 years ago, about 80% of the employees of Members Wealth worked at a company that was a leader of its time, a firm called Lockwood Financial. And it was one of these first kind of tech-forward platforms when the internet started to bring financial advisory and wealth management to independent advisors. And we all had a mutual respect, worked for each other. Now, all went our different directions when that company sold. And we all came back together during COVID. We were all working from home for our respective companies. And we had this idea that we wanted to create something that was based on all our collective years of experience, that focused on families first, service first, that was a service first organization, not sales driven. And we wanted to do it right here in Delaware County. So a lot of us, most of us, if not all of us at one point, were born right here. And we were born all very similar stories, right? We go back a few generations. We come from the blue collar, the nurse, the teacher, the warehouseman, the police officer, the fire. They raised our families, some of us are either first or second generation to college. And we love the idea of Delco, right? It's this hardworking community. And although the very northern tip of Delco had the main line and Villanova, Radnor, and a lot of the money, we just saw over time that there's a lot of people in central and south Delaware County that are aspiring to create wealth for themselves and their families so that they can endure over time or have that. And so we wanted to create this brand, this recognizable brand for the people of Delaware County.
You talk about Delaware County being so many different areas of, let's say, income, wealth. That's one of the things I love about Delco. It's so diverse, and you have all kinds of different people, all kinds of different backgrounds. What are some of the questions when you meet somebody for the first time? What are some of the questions that you're finding that they have that are probably very pertinent to where the economy is, to where the market is, to where wealth management is?
Yeah, I think a lot of folks are so busy with everything else that planning for their finances falls to the bottom of the list. And that can part be because they're busy. It can also be because they're insecure about it, right? They don't know a lot about it. It's not their area of expertise, so they push it off. And depending on the family you were raised in, you might have not been exposed to it. So a lot of the questions we get from the aspiring wealthy, let's call them, which is a portion of the people we work with, the aspiring wealthy, is how do I get started? What do I do first, right? It's so complex. And for me, that's easy. You talk to us, right? You talk to us and let us start asking some questions. If people already have wealth and they're also great clients, they typically want to understand how we differentiate ourselves. And so we'll get into that, how we differentiate ourselves from other financial advisors, other wealth managers, other family offices.
You know, you've raised your family, your children are getting older, but you've seen them come through, let's say, the educational system. Wealth management, those aspiring to be wealthy, if you had control or you could wave that magic wand and want to impart that education into the younger generation so they had more knowledge, had more awareness, what would you think that would, where do we start?
I actually think there's been some pretty significant developments. I think back to my childhood, and my folks weren't anything to speak of when it came to money, right? They were hardworking teacher warehousemen. They worked hard. They brought home. They provided. They gave me a great opportunity to get ahead. But we didn't talk about money. But what I did do back then is I played a lot of games, and some games really kept my attention then and kept my attention now. Monopoly comes to mind, right? And it taught me a lot of value about mortgages, about banks, about money, about rents, taxes, utilities, repairs. So a lot to learn, but there wasn't a formal education at school. Now, there were some clubs, which was a start. And what I'm seeing now, which I think is very exciting for our youth, some of the members of our organization, their kids at their high schools and other parts actually have some financial classes. And think about home economics, right? We used to have home economics to learn how to cook, right? Which is very important. We got to feed ourselves, but we didn't have finance classes. Right. So to me, it's a very simple add, and you're starting to see it added to curriculum, but you're also seeing the gamification, which somewhat is contrary to long-term thinking. But if it gets anything that gets youth interested in investing, and I'm not a big proponent of the cryptocurrencies and that movement, but when you're seeing this coins and the games they're playing, and there are markets and exchanges and saving up coins and working towards that, that's all very beneficial to them. So it's very exciting. I was actually just up, one of our biggest service vendors is Fidelity, right? Everybody knows Fidelity. It's where we custody a lot of our clients' assets. And I was just up visiting their technology headquarters up in Boston. And some of the things they're doing, they've built games they give away for free for like platforms like Roblox, wow, which is fantastic, right? And so the kids are going in there and they're learning about money, and they don't even really know that they're learning about money. So I'm very encouraged at where we've come. I think there's a long way to go, but it's definitely come a lot further than where it was, 20 years ago.
I find it interesting. The only exposure to finance or anything about money that I had growing up was how to write a check. And today, people don't use checks. And it's very funny with real estate, asking somebody to write a very large check for a deposit, that's like, how do I write this check? It's so interesting to me that back in the day, they taught you how to write a check. Today, it's not about that. But like you said, if we can gamify or expose the youth or younger generations into wealth saving through these games, I think that is a really good first step into help create generational wealth, lasting wealth, peace of mind, which is really a lot of the focus that you provide your clients.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Who motivates you? Who mentors you?
Yeah, I guess there's a bunch out there. I mentioned before, I grew up with really hardworking parents. My dad was a shift worker, a union man, never complained about work. A lot of times, 7 days a week, a lot of double shifts, time and a half. He was hard on me. Unfortunately, he left us, but he threw boxes for a living. So I could never complain about my hard work. It's not hard work to him when you're not doing something physical. And so I learned not to complain and just keep my head down. My mom, too, taught for 35 years, a lot of kids. Hats off to any teacher out there. And then I work I'm married to a critical care nurse. And you don't complain to a critical care nurse about a hard day at work either. So I think surrounding yourself with people that work harder than you'll ever have to, you just realize how fortunate you are. So you get up every morning and you say, I've got it good. I can go help families and businesses achieve their dreams. And I'm not digging ditches. So.
Wow. I mean, that's, what you said there just gave me chills. And, that to me is, what I understand is that's what gets you out of bed every morning, the opportunity to help people and serve people. And that just kind of made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. So thank you for that little gift. How do people connect with you? How do people find you and say, Dane, I need help with my wealth building, my finances? You're the guy. How do you help them?
Yeah, of course, we built out a web presence, right? We have our website. We're available LinkedIn, Facebook. You can always just call us. We are all members of the community. You ask around, you'll probably find us pretty quickly. We try to work with everybody. We, of course, can't. Our one qualification is that they're driven. They're willing to listen. They can be educated. They want to learn. They're hardworking. They aspire to continue to grow their wealth. You track us down and we can help that family.
Awesome. Now you community, right? This is the Delco community. You are on your way home and your wife says, hey, it was a very busy day at the hospital today. Pick up some cheesesteaks. Where are you going?
Where am I going for cheesesteaks? Well, I think I raised my daughters well, and they're cheesesteak critics. And we've tried pretty much every place we can. We always laugh when we get outside of the general Philadelphia Delco vicinity for cheesesteaks, but we found a lot of places. But we're big on ratio, the ratio of cheese to meat to ketchup to onion to roll. We don't like it too stuffed, and we're two of us are fried onion and ketchup. One is just the ketchup. We're American cheese, not whiz, and we like about 12 to 14 inch. Softer roll. All the places we've tried, and we've tried a lot, we come back to our favorite right here in media. It's Little Anthony's Pizza and Cheesesteak Place. I think they've won some best of Delcos over the years. So that's our go-to. We always hit it up.
All right, Dane, nobody has ever gotten that technical on the podcast as to the ratio and the size.
We do it once or twice, maybe 3 or 4 times a month. Yeah, I mean, we try them a lot. We love them.
We need to introduce you to Jim Pappas' Cheesesteak Adventure. He may be looking for more judges on his panel, especially when March Madness rolls around, his Cheesesteak March Madness. So
we'd have some tough critics with my daughter. So a lot of thumbs downs. Yeah, so we'll see.
All right, now I'm curious. Where are you going for pizza in Delco?
Pizza. Well, there's actually a newer place right in Morton. It's called, I think it's called the American Dough Company, and they have Detroit style pizza, which I never heard of. And I love thin crust. I love New York style. I love Chicago deep dish. I mean, I do love all the pizzas, but there's something about this Detroit style that really catches us all. We bring it home. So that's like a treat. But there's a couple other places we like too. So.
All right. So I've never had what I believe is Detroit style. What sets that apart from the other styles?
Yeah, it's going to be a square pizza. It's going to be thicker. Think Sicilian. The crust is phenomenal. It's just that olive oily crust. It's somewhere you think in Chicago deep dish, but I believe it's the crust with the oil in a deep pan, a layer of provolone, sauce, any of the things you want to put in there. He's got like a Rocky Balboa, a Kennett Square. He's got some local flair to it. And then on top, I think it's called brick cheese. And so the whole top is just covered in cheese. So you got a cheese sauce, cheese, deep dish with fantastic crust. It's a treat.
See, I knew we were going to get technical on the pizza. I just needed to figure out a way to have you describe it.
I am an analyst by training, so I do analyze.
Dane, you're on your way to Delco Meats for Business, one of the meetings, and you need a convenience store option. Where are you stopping, Wawa or Royal Farms?
How can you even ask that? I mean, of course it's Wawa. It's done. I can't believe the others even exist in this county, but yeah, Wawa for sure.
Do you have a go-to favorite at Wawa?
I'd say I've been going to Wawa since I was a little kid when I ride my bike there. The most consistent sandwich over the years has been the meatball. My daughter's taken up over that flag. So most disappointing thing that can happen at Wawa is they run out of the meatball when we go in for meatball sandwiches. So.
How do you describe Delco to somebody that's never been here or not heard of Delco?
Yeah, well, that's becoming few and far between now. I was just in Boston and brought up Delco, and he goes, "Oh, I know Delco. I got a friend from there." So I think the word's spreading. Whoever was behind the branding and marketing of Delco, just absolute genius. I think it's really taken off. I think it's more than a geography, right? It's an attitude. It's a lot of families here. There's not a real large net immigration in, so you got a lot of multi-generational families. I love to watch that evolution. I was part of it. You see, that good, hardworking class still there, working hard to get their kids to college or into the trades, and very family oriented. And we have our own language, which is pretty cool. And I didn't realize it until I left Delaware County that somebody said, "Oh, you're from just outside and you speak," they called it Philadelphia Ease, but it's Delco, Delaware Valley language. It's pretty interesting to have. Yeah.
So you have some of those people from Boston coming in from out of town, maybe some friends or family. You want to give them that Delco experience. Where are you sending them, or where will you be taking them?
I mean, you're definitely going out for a cheesesteak. You got to run by the Wawa. Yeah, I mean, they're definite go-tos for sure.
Dane, is there anything we haven't talked about on the podcast today? Anything you want listeners to know more about you or more about Members Wealth?
I think our belief is that every individual, family, and business deserves to have a financial plan, but they need to really want it. And if you want to make your financial situation more secure, improve on what you have, if you want to work with a firm that has a team approach, right? We look at tax, estate, asset protection, insurance, investments. We look at all. It's really a full picture. We're independently owned, right? We're not owned by a bank, an insurance company. We only get paid one way, and that's by that family, by that individual, by that business. We see ourselves as part of their team, right? We're not an adversary. We're not sitting across the table. We're sitting on the same side of the table. So if you're looking for a partner that has that same values, that same love of Delaware County, and that hard-driven mentality of, I want to better my life for myself and my family, we're the firm you want to call.
All right. Somebody wants to do something old-fashioned and pick up the phone to call you. Is there a phone number they should call you on?
Sure. 267-367-5453. That's the office line. You can ask for me. Colleen will probably pick up, or Tim or Marie. But we're all there, and we're looking forward to the call.
All right. You have somebody that's more technologically savvy and you want to have them hit you up on email. What would the email address be?
We try to keep it easy. I have a hard last name, so it's just Dane at memberswealthllc.com. Dane at memberswealthllc.com.
And give that website one more time.
It's memberswealthllc.com.
There you go.
LLC.com, yeah.
I'll be walking around saying that out loud just to strangers, and they're wondering what I'm saying to myself. So memberswealthllc.com. Dane, thank you so much for being a friend of What's Happening Delco. We're grateful for your time today and really appreciate what you're doing to help communities, families in the Delco area. So thank you so much for that.
And thank you, Rich. I mean, I know I've joined the meetings a few months back, but all the energy you put into the meetings, the energy you put into this, I mean, I've seen it, the experiences, the people I'm meeting, any other businesses out there that aren't coming, they should be coming. I mean, it's really a really great experience. So thank you.
Thanks for those kind words, Dane. All right, go out there and make people wealthy.
All right. Thanks, Rich. Take care.
You got it.